Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to my live. Though I have to say, I'm not sure if I'm actually really welcoming you to my live or not, because there was a technical glitch. And when I entered the studio, it informed me that it wasn't attached to a LinkedIn event. So if you are unable to see this, I'm going to figure this out later, but I'll record this and I'm going to act. It is live. It is being broadcast to my page and it's being broadcast to my YouTube channel. But I don't know if the event that you signed up for, it doesn't seem to be married, though the event still exists. So I'm not sure what's happening with that. No matter what I will do in any event is I will post the video on my page tomorrow and or later on today, and then we can go from there. So I want to welcome you, and I hope you're all having like a really, really, really good day. It's a lovely sunny day in Montreal. Wasn't supposed to be, but it is. So welcome to my live stream. For those of you who know me, you've got my name, Jennifer Crane, the founder of Connection Quebec Public Affairs. And I'm very happy to have you here, and I'm excited to introduce you to CQ3. So I will wait maybe a minute or two just to see, but yeah, because I'm not sure if anybody's able to see me or not, because it's not indicating that that my event has actually started, even though my live stream has been going on for 2 minutes. So okay, we're going to just proceed as we're going to proceed, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so welcome, bienvenue, LinkedIn Live Masterclass introducing CQ3, which are the 3 pillars of Connection Quebec's approach: brand, map, and engage. So I'm excited to introduce these concepts to you in the next 30 minutes. So it's a simple yet powerful framework to master your advocacy efforts and make a real impact. So no wasted time in your efforts with that. So basically, if you are running a not-for-profit, small and medium enterprise, you're an entrepreneur, and you need to engage with government decision makers, policymakers, funders, what have you, you're in the right place. So welcome. And so today what we're going to learn is we're going to learn to clarify your advocacy brand for stronger messaging, to strategically map your stakeholders for greater impact, and to engage with decision makers using strategies and tactics that work. Therefore, also not wasting time and energy on strategies and tactics that don't work, because there are many of them, and I can share many worst practices with you, but I'd rather share best practices with you so you don't make mistakes. So before we start, we'll do a little bit of basic housekeeping. So I encouraged people the other day to download the stakeholder map. So this is a downloadable stakeholder map, which you're going to be able to put into practice in part 2 of today's session. And you can find it at my website, and I'm going to throw the thing across the bottom in a ticker so you can see it, connectionquebec.ca/stakeholder.map. That's a fillable PDF. So you can plot your stakeholders, and you'll see the value of this, obviously, right away, of course, but in part 2, because you're going to be able to use it right away. So I'll give you a minute or two to grab that off my website, and I'll take care of a little bit of more housekeeping just pour dire que cette activité va dérouler en anglais. Mais si vous avez des questions en français, gardez-les jusqu'à la fin, parce qu'à la fin, je vais répondre aux questions en anglais puis en français. Donc, il n'y a pas de problème. So anyway, as I mentioned, questions will be answered at the end in both French and in English. And so now that I think you've had your chance to download your stakeholder map, let's get started. And if you stick around right to the very end, you're going to learn how to dive deeper into CQ3, because I've got a really great offer to share with you. So welcome. Let's talk about brand, crafting your advocacy identity. So you hear a lot about brand this, brand that, but branding really does play a key role in effective advocacy efforts. If you want to hit your mark in terms of advocacy or getting funding, you really need to know what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it. And those things are all aligned with your brand values and your mission statement. So if you have all of those things in alignment, you're going to be able to hopefully do aligned advocacy work that's aligned with your organization's mission, because you want things to look the same. So, I mean, for example, if you're advocating for peace, but you're setting things on fire, that is a misaligned and unaligned message. So that is not something that you want to achieve. But, you know, if you actually have an aligned message with your mission, that is when stakeholders and decision makers stand up and take notice. So your brand is not just your logo or your colors or whatever it is, your brand colors, but it's how people feel about you, how they perceive you, and how they take away. So for not-for-profits, obviously, or from any organization, but not-for-profits in particular, who rely on not just doing advocacy, but receiving government funding, having a good perception and having the perception that you're doing really, really good work really helps to be able to obtain that elusive government funding. So this is something that's really, really, really key to work on for not-for-profits, to get that solid basis, because in all of the things that you do with that mission statement, with that vision statement, all of those things that are aligned, you have your brand, your advocacy brand ready to go. That's your building block to be able to do much more effective advocacy. So here's your challenge. I'm going to give you 3 challenges too, by the way. So you can either write them in the chat, though I don't know that I can see it at this particular moment. But here's your challenge. So what are the top 3 values that define my organization? And if I had 30 seconds to tell a decision maker what we stand for, what would I say? So you can either take notes and write this to yourself. You can write this in the chat, and we'll take this as a commitment to be able to take action. So one of the ideas about having a solid organizational brand for doing advocacy and any type of stakeholder engagement work is that sometimes having that specificity can really open the doors for you, because if you are really able to speak to what you do, you're going to be able to hit your targets, whether that is advocacy targets, whether it's getting doors opened, whether it's getting seats at the table, whether it's getting that elusive funding, whatever the funding that you may be seeking. This is going to help. So in the next, in the overall CQ3 training, the full day training, we talk about how to align your messaging and your brand messaging for all your stakeholders, because whether you're not going to be telling them the same thing, but the same vision and message is going to be carried throughout, because no matter what you're going to say to them, it's always going to be the same thing. So your brand is always going to be solid and consistent. So once you've figured that out, you've got your your vertebrae that you're going to be able to work from. So I look forward to talking to you a little bit further about CQ3 and the full day training later. So now let's move on to the map. This is where that downloadable map will have come in handy, and we're going to use this. This is your strategic stakeholder map, strategic stakeholder mapping. So first of all, this is obvious that not all stakeholders are created equal. So you don't have time to engage everyone, and you need to focus on the ones that can actually move the needle for your project. So this is where you're going to be able to find the mapping exercise is going to be extremely helpful. So, you know, it's one thing to be able to know what you want to say. It's another thing to know who to say it to and when to be able to say it. So this is going to help you with your timing and your planning. So here, I'm going to make myself invisible here, because here are the 10 types of stakeholders in the not-for-profit sector. Now, I don't have to read these to you, but all of you in the not-for-profit sector recognize this cast of characters. So whether it's your community partners, your volunteers, your board members, your corporate sponsors, the media and the public, whatever it is, all of these people are your stakeholders in different ways. And they all have to be receiving the same core message, but maybe in a different way, depending on what you need to have from those particular stakeholders. So this is going to be an interesting little exercise that we're going to engage in next. So we're going to get started mapping. So grab your map that you should have downloaded. If you're just joining now, because I realize there have been a couple of technical glitches, but that's okay. I am live on LinkedIn and on YouTube, but I'm not attached to my event. So I do apologize, but moving right along, we roll with the punches here. And so grab your stakeholder map, and then we're going to get started. So basically, getting started mapping looks like this. You want to identify your primary decision maker who has the power to approve or block your goal, and map out your secondary influencers who can connect you to these decision makers, and prioritize by urgency and influence. Who do you need to engage first? Because if your not-for-profit is like most not-for-profits, you don't have all the time in the world and you don't have all the resources. So when you're looking at engagement strategy, you really need to be working on maximizing your effort to get the maximum value out of it, out of your efforts to do this. So here's a basic stakeholder map, and an axis. It's your stakeholder interest and your stakeholder influence. So this is the low end would be, where you'd see the stakeholders, and the high end is up here. So when I talk about a stakeholder map, and I talk about stakeholders, when you're mapping out your stakeholders, this map is please always remember that this map is neutral. So you may have a stakeholder that has a high level of influence and a high level of interest in your project, but maybe because they're against it. And those you're going to have to pay particular attention to and plan your response accordingly, because that is an opponent. Now, I hope my wish for all of you is that you don't have opponents to your projects. But if you do, you need to be aware of them, and you need to be aware of how to deal with them. So you would put them where they would be plotted. So basically here is an idea of generally how you would treat stakeholders depending on where they might find themselves on the map. If a high level of influence and a high level of interest, a low level of interest but a high level of influence, you might you're gonna plan your strategy accordingly. So the downloadable stakeholder map that you have, you can actually fill in paragraphs in each of these quadrants. So you can have numerous stakeholders in there, and then you can take notes on them. So remember to save it, and then you can refer to it again and again. So that's your stakeholder map. That's my gift to you, because I know that stakeholder mapping is not obvious, but it's very, very valuable. And I look forward to talking to you a little bit about it a little bit further. So here's challenge number 2, and you can choose to take this challenge or not. You can choose to respond in the comments or not, or you can just choose to write it down, because it's always good to be able to maybe make a little bit of a commitment. So who's the one stakeholder you need to engage, but you haven't yet? So if you've gone through this last exercise with me, you're going to find it on probably in that top corner there, the high interest and high influence. So there's your challenge and something to think about. And obviously, if you need assistance doing that, you can always contact me offline. I'm available to help people engage stakeholders. So basically, what you might find when you do a stakeholder mapping exercise is you might find a lot of opportunities that you hadn't seen before. So when you're mapping things out and you're drawing things out, and you see different people in different organizations or people in different segments, you might find opportunities for new funding, opportunities for new collaborations, opportunities to build new alliances, possible threats. Unfortunately, that happens, but that's always good. It's always good to know if there's a threat to whatever you're trying to do. It's good to know that from the outset. So doing these mapping exercises are always good. And of course, review your map as your project goes along, because your stakeholders will be different depending on what phase of your project you're in. So in the full CQ3 full day training, we do a stakeholder map that is designed for each of the organizations and for their stakeholders, and basically it's an extensive coaching session for the stakeholder mapping, and they will have a stakeholder map that's built for their organization, and I'm going to be coaching them through that. So they may have possibilities, because I have a very good idea of what organizations, foundations, and different organizations are operating on the ground in Quebec that might actually be able to help them out and lead to whether they're looking for funding or policy. So a personalized stakeholder map will be one of the deliverables at the end of the day. It's CQ3. So now we're getting into our last section. So you've got your first two building blocks. So you got your brand. Now you know who your stakeholders are. Okay. And now you want to engage them with tactics that deliver. So basically, when you're looking at your stakeholders, how you're going to engage them is going to depend on the stakeholder. Some stakeholders will respond well to policy briefs and formal meetings and things like that. Others respond better to social media posts, to informal conversations, to networking events or whatever. So if know your stakeholders, know what they prefer, and plan your engagement tactics and strategies accordingly, because you want it to hit the mark for that particular stakeholder. Or some of them, they want to, it always needs to be win-win with your stakeholders. So if depending on who the person is, you want to be able to help them to look good. And if you're looking at a politician, for example, well, here, let's start with the simple CQ3 engagement list. So we're going to craft a message that speaks to their priorities, not just yours. So this is where I'm getting to the win-win, right? Choose the right channel, your formal meeting, your email, or your networking events, and always follow up with value. So what's in it for them? I mean, I know it's a not-for-profit, what's in it for us, but you have to think what's in it for them, especially if they are an elected official. One of the things that they do crave is visibility, and also validation of perhaps party policy. So what could be in it for them? Well, we're going to get to that in a moment. So here's a challenge for you. So this is a challenge for this section. Think of one decision maker you need to engage with. If you had 5 minutes with them, what's the one message you'd deliver? This is really important. And 5 minutes is quite a long time. So you really think this through. You can do like a little rough draft. You can drop a message in the comments if you want, but think this through. So these are challenges that should get you thinking about your advocacy work or your attempts to obtain funding, because a lot of these things, these messages that you're going to be developing are going to be, you can use them for many different things. Once you get that basic brand statement, your advocacy brand, you can use that in so many different places as almost like a plug and play, or that can be modified slightly for fundraising requests and different things. So, it's something that you would want to keep in your swipe file folder. Now I'm going back to a live I did last year on media relations where I really promoted swipe files, but it is important. And, the organizational brand that you have and the messaging that you want to deliver should be things that your team know almost by rote. So basically in CQ3, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to look at the real strategies that work. So we're going to end up going through what your stakeholders are, who they're doing, what they prefer, what the messaging is, and how you can help them. What is the value that you can add? So you're going to have a detailed map. So a massive action plan is a map as well. But basically what you want to think about for your engagement strategies, especially the win-win. So let's say, you're trying to obtain an advocacy win. You invite an elected official to an event. Maybe they don't like to come to events, but if you give them a detailed white paper and a policy brief that they can use, then you may have some data points that will support them in committee work or wherever it is, and you become a valuable asset. Then maybe you're going to get that meeting that you want, or maybe you have an elected official that is in an election year, and that person is somebody that is an ally of yours. Perhaps it is representing your local area, and that they love to come to events. But they know that if they come to your events, that they're going to get featured prominently on your social media, making them look good. So that's what I mean by win-win. It's not just about asking people for things. It's also about providing them with value. And once you've really got that messaging down, you really hammer down on that brand and what you deliver and for whom you deliver and why you do it, that will help people to want to help you. So you want to go a deeper dive into this, then this is where the full day CQ3 training is coming in. So normally I would be taking questions, but I seem to be having wait a second. Do I have comments? No, I don't have any comments. So I don't know if anybody can even see this, but that's okay. So I would normally take some questions on those 3 sections right now. But if you have any questions on what I just covered, I will share this video on my page tomorrow, and then you can ask them there, or you can send me, please. Always, my DMs are always open. If you have questions about anything that I've done a live about, I am always happy to answer your questions. So now we'll jump right in, and I'll tell you about CQ3. I am excited. So basically, we've gone through the CQ3 framework today. So brand, align your message with your mission, map, identify, and prioritize your key stakeholders, and engage. So you're building relationships that lead to action. So this is what we've gone through today. So this is the basic framework. So if you want to go deeper, we've got a full day training that is coming up, where we're going to create a tailored advocacy action plan to develop a detailed stakeholder map and master engagement strategies and tactics that work based on who your stakeholders actually are. So this training is a full day training, and it's aimed towards not-for-profit. So I've got some special not-for-profit features and some special not-for-profit prices, as well as a bonus. So we'll get to that. So it's going to happen on Wednesday, April 16th, online from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So basically it's 3 90-minute workshops with brainstorming at the end. So I am inviting not-for-profits to join. So you get 3 attendees for the price of 1. So whether it's a member of your staff, whether it's a board member, whatever it is, you can bring 3 people. There's always more benefit if you're going to be brainstorming together about your organizational brand and who your stakeholders are. The more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. And when you have those brainstorming sessions at the end of the 90-minute sessions, I will be coming in and coaching you through it to be able to help and to add value, and perhaps a little bit of like the 30,000 foot view of Quebec and what's out there and what kind of opportunities are available to you. So we'll be going through all of that. And so how much will that cost you? So if you sign up before March 31st, through March 31st, I should say. So by 11:59 p.m. on March 31st, you get the full day training for 3 of your most valued staff and or stakeholders or board members or whatever it is for $595. Plus, you're going to get the Public Affairs Power Pack, which is something that is going to drop next week. It's going to drop on the 1st. So as of the 1st of April, that's going to be, it's a $99 value. So in the Public Affairs Power Pack, these are digital downloads. So basically, it's a full suite of downloads. So you can go from A to Z with your public affairs plan. So it's like plug and play. You've got fillable PDFs. So you've got your strategic GR roadmap, your impact brief builder, so you can build your policy briefings in there, your campaign success tracker, and your stakeholder engagement system. So what you have in these is you'll have a sample of how it should look when it's filled out with these types of activities, and then you can fill it out with your own activities, and these can be used again and again. So this is not yet available. It's available to those people who buy CQ3 before March 31st. So those early birds, I really, I encourage you to buy it. You can pick it up, here, we'll grab where you can pick it up. You can pick it up at connectionquebec.ca/CQ3, lowercase important. And you can buy that as of now. You can register for CQ3 and you will get access immediately to the Public Affairs Power Pack, which will be retailing as of Monday, or sorry, the 1st of April, which I believe is actually Tuesday, for $99. But it's a digital download thing, and it will help you on your way to your public affairs success, because I know that not-for-profits, you don't have a lot of staff, you don't have a lot of budget, but I think that between this training and this thing, you're going to be set on your way to go. So thank you so much for attending my live today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you. And I do hope that some people have been able to see this despite the glitches. But like I said, I will put it in the on my LinkedIn tomorrow, and I'll look forward to answering any of your questions in my DM. So I will wish you, on that note, a very, very good day, and I hope to see you soon.